Hi, this is Becca from UNC Wellness. For this video, we're going to go over the 10 best stretch postures for cyclists. As you know, with cycling, the quads, the hamstrings, the glutes, and the calves all get a heavy workout. And it's really important to make sure that we stretch those areas in order to avoid heavy soreness and injury. So with this video, we're going to start off with our standing postures, move on to kneeling, then seated, and then reclined postures. So all you need is your mat and maybe a wall, and let's go ahead and get started. Our first pose is Warrior One. I am going to use the wall for this one. Using the wall will help give us a bit more resistance to maximize the stretch. Now, alignment is really critical in our stretch postures, so I'll cue you through that as well. So we're going to step to the top of the mat. Our hips are square to the top of the mat. Take a natural step back with our right foot. That right foot's at a slight angle. Now, to keep the hips square at the top, I use this little trick. You can take the fleshy part of your thumb, place it on your hip bones, and try to make those middle fingers match. If you notice that your right hip is opening to the side, take a step in, and that'll help you square the hips. Okay? You can also place your hands against the wall and give yourself some resistance. So we're engaging our right heel into the mat, and we can feel that all the way up our calf muscle. And then we step together at the top and switch sides. So that left foot comes back, the foot turns at a slight angle, we bend into our right knee is staying over that ankle, and we press back through that left heel. And then step together at the top. Another standing posture is pyramid pose, similar alignment to Warrior One. So we're going to start with the hips squared to the top of the mat. We're going to step straight back with that right foot. So both heels are going to stay on the mat. Now my left leg, for the most part, is straight. We don't want to lock the knee, but otherwise that leg is straight. We're going to press our sits bones back and then walk the hands down the leg, trying to keep a neutral spine. Hands can stay on the leg. You can come to the floor or a block. And we'll work our way up and switch sides. So that left foot straight back, heel comes in contact with the mat again. Right leg straight, press the sits bones back. Go ahead and walk your hands down the leg. And then lift up and bring those feet together. Our next standing pose is wide leg forward fold. So from standing, we're going to step out wide, bring the feet parallel to one another, toes slightly in from the heels. And on our exhale, we're going to fold at the hip, pressing our sits bones back. Hands can meet the floor, the block, or if you have the flexibility, you can come down to the elbows, drop the head, eye gaze through the legs. You might also notice how your weight is balanced between the two halves of the body. We want to try to have equal weight pressing through the feet. So if you find you're leaning on one side more than the other, we're going to try to square ourselves up. And then begin to walk those feet towards one another and lift up to standing. Our next posture, we're moving to downward facing dog. So from the top of your mat, we'll sweep the arms overhead, bring the hands to the mat, step into plank, and then lift the hips, press upward and back to downward facing dog. So if our hamstrings are tight here, you can keep the knees bent, keeping a neutral spine, eye gaze to the thighs, squeezing the shoulder blades together in the back, staying open through the chest. You can walk the dog here by pressing one heel into the mat and then the other, or just staying still. All right, so we're going to move on to some kneeling postures. We're going to start off with Camel. So we'll turn to the side. And so for Camel, we're coming up to the knees. Now, we might have our toes flat, or we can be propped up on the toes. It's whatever feels most comfortable for us. We're going to try to keep the knees and hips square. So remember with Camel, it's not a 90-degree bend at the waist, but rather a lift and lengthening through the chest to try to open up the chest, and we'll also feel that through the hip. Okay? So we're going to bring our hands behind us to start. We can place our fist on the lower back. We can also place the heel and the hand on the lower back, whatever feels most comfortable for you. We're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together, squeeze the elbows towards one another, and open the chest, and lift the eyes to the sky. And each inhale, try to lengthen through the spine. Now, if it's in your practice to go to your heels, you're welcome to bring your hands to your heels and then press up and out with the chest. If that's not comfortable for you, you'll stay upright. So we're going to move on to a lunge with a quad stretch. So come on to hands and knees. We're going to step the right foot through. The knee needs to stay over that ankle, keeps your joints happy. Now the angle you take on the other side really depends on what's comfortable for you. You can scoot that left knee back a bit if you need something more intense, or if you need something less intense, scoot the knee forward so you're more in a 90 degree knee. So to stretch the quad, we're going to bend that left leg, reach back for the foot, and you should feel your quad pretty quickly. And then we're going to release and switch sides. Same thing on this side with the alignment. Knee stays over the ankle and you choose the angle of the legs. We're going to pick up that right foot, reach back with the right hand, and check out the quad on the other side. And release. And now for some seated postures. We'll start off with seated pigeon with an option to do cradle the baby. So I'm going to bring out my right leg first. I'm going to cross my left ankle over the knee and then bend that right leg. So I'll flex my left foot, helps protect the knee joint but also engages that hip a bit more. So for our seated pigeon, we want to lengthen through the spine, not putting any undue pressure on the lower back. Now if you want to try cradle the baby, we bring our elbow around the foot, elbow around the knee, and then lift the leg off. So on the inhale, we lift the leg. Exhale, we bring it closer to the body. And we can feel that from the glute into the hamstring. Now, if that's not comfortable for you, we're going to just leave that left leg on the right. All right, let's switch sides. Same thing, just the opposite side. Right ankle over that left knee, bend the knee. So seated pigeon, we stay here. Or if you would like to take cradle the baby, we're going to pick up that right leg. On our inhale, we're going to lift. Exhale, bring it towards you. And then go ahead and release. Let's move on to seated butterflies. We're going to bring our feet together. Knees come to the outside. You can also do this reclined if you rather do that. So we're going to lengthen through the lower back, trying not to collapse through the abs. And on our exhale, we're going to fold at the hip, walk the hands out, relax the head. And on each exhale, if you can go a little bit further, you're welcome to move your hands out a bit more. So move to bridge pose, which is done on the back. So go ahead and roll yourselves down. And bring the feet flat to the floor. We're going to walk the heels in so that the ankles are underneath the knees. The knees are also in alignment with the hip. We're going to try to keep the engagement on those outer thighs so the knees don't splay to the side when we lift. Eye gaze to the sky. And let's point the chin to the sky as well. On our inhale, press through the feet, lifting up the hips. We'll slightly walk the shoulder blades underneath us so that we're off the neck. Hands can rest on the floor, or you can clasp the hands under the hips and keeping the eye gaze up. And of course, we're breathing. And then lower down. And the 10th pose for cyclists, spinal twist, which happen to be my favorite. Those are also done on the back, so let's roll down again. So there are a couple options here. We're going to take the knees and go to the right, and you can stack the knees. If you want a little bit more dynamic, you're going to cross the left knee over the right, and then go down to the right side. That'll get a little bit deeper into your glute. So the arms here can rest on the legs. You can also bring them out to the side. You just want to keep the shoulders on the ground. And then come to the center, and we'll switch sides. So if you're crossing the legs, the right goes over the left. Of course, you can also stack the knees as you go down. Arms can rest on the body or come to the side. And then bring those knees to the chest. And let's roll on up. So thanks for hanging out with me to learn 10 postures. Happy cycling and happy stretching.